In the first prosecution under the amended Juvenile Justice Act, the teenager accused in the Mercedes hit-and-run case in Delhi will now face trial as an adult. The student had turned 18 just 4 days after the accident in which, this is the CCTV footage you're seeing on your screen right now, 32-year-old marketing executive Siddharth Sharma was killed on the 4th of April. The Juvenile Justice, that's the Child and Protection, Care and Protection of Children Amendment Act 2015, now allows for juveniles 16 years or older to be tried as adults for heinous offences like rape and murder. The act was amended, remember, following public outrage after one of the offenders in the December 16, 2012 gang rape case escaped being tried in court as he was a few months short of turning 18. He has since, remember, been released and has been placed under the care of a non-profit organization. Now, the juvenile in this Mercedes case would have been tried as a minor if the act had not been amended. Today on the show, we're discussing, should this teen be tried as an adult? And joining us for this is Ranjana Kumari, Director, Center for Social Research. We have Shireen Miller. She's the Head of Policy and Advocacy at Tata Trust. And we have Shilpa Mittal, the sister of Siddharth Sharma. Shilpa, first and foremost, I want to go across to you. Today would have been Siddharth's 33rd birthday, correct? And you and your family, instead of celebrating at home quietly, are here going from pillar to post, fighting for justice. You literally are responsible for bringing this case to where it is today. Now, it's unprecedented. We're going to have a teen who's going to be tried as an adult. Is this an apt birthday gift for the Sharma family? Do you feel it's justice in a sense, or the first step of justice?
Definitely. I think it is the first step, towards a better and secure future of the country. And I think that more than it's, it's not a gift to Siddharth. I think it's Siddharth's gift to the society, to have a better future of the generation. The whole reason that we are fighting this is to set an example so that, people don't lose their loved ones because of somebody's rash drivings and their fancies of life and taking the law and order in their hands and getting away with it. So I think I'm thankful to Siddharth for this.
So Siddharth's gift to society. Shireen Miller, can you come in on this? You advocate for juveniles being given a chance to reform. Siddharth's family simply asking that he should not be treated, should not be judged, should not be tried as a minor, because then he would be getting off for this crime on a technicality.
I kind of feel deeply for Siddharth's family, and I'm not looking at this as a sort of one case, but I think the whole issue here is that how could we have avoided this tragic incident and the loss of someone's life? And the question here is not about whether punishing this one boy and putting him into the adult system. Is that the reason why the police indeed have changed their charge, and the Juvenile Justice Board, which is supposed to be looking at rationally whether this boy should go into the adult system or not. This boy was not, he had previous offences. If the police had done their job, if they had enforced the law as they ought to, not letting anyone get off with it, if the parents had counseled and indeed, made sure that this wouldn't happen again, we wouldn't be in this case. And I think that that's what we need to recognize, all of us, that it needs to be a wider societal law enforcement issue, that rash driving is not acceptable, and it's not acceptable to and that children will behave like this. I think that's what we need to recognize, instead of putting all the blame on a child, that we have to guide them.
Talking about the gravity of the offence, this case is also unprecedented because we have for the first time the police also arresting the father. We've never seen that happen before. Of course, both of them got off on bail. But let me just quickly go through this young driver's record, right? The police say the accused has a history of committing such similar offences. On his record, he has been challaned 3 or 4 times for overspeeding, also for not wearing a seatbelt. On February 16, 2016, he was involved in a minor traffic accident, they say, in Morris Nagar in Delhi, where he put a forged signature on the papers to avoid detection. This is what the police are saying. And more importantly, in this case, as the Sharma family will point out, he did not stop, he did not get out to help Siddharth. Whether, the outcome of this case would have been different, we don't know, but he did not stop. He, in fact, fled from the spot to avoid getting caught for this. And the police also told the court that the father of the juvenile then attempted to mislead the authorities. They twisted facts and they presented their driver as the offender. So, Ranjana, I want to go across to you now. Prior to all of this, under 18 accused were examined by juvenile justice boards. They were sent to correction homes for a maximum period of 3 years for committing an offence. Now you have an accused who faces a maximum punishment of 10 years in jail if, of course, the trial court convicts him. You don't think that's extreme for an 18-year-old?
No, Sarah, because I think I'm glad that you read out the history of this case according to the police investigation. First of all, why the age was reduced, because there is number of crime that is between 16 and 18 is grown over the years, and the nature of crime that has been committed by this age group is heinous. Especially in this particular case, if this was a repeat offence and also that parents did not take care, he had no remorse. So why do you give punishment? Punishment for remorse, punishment for sense of justice to the victim's family, punishment for also deterrent, act as a deterrent. Now within the, within this framework, if you look at the kind of punishment that such people should get, and also you don't forget, there have been many such crimes where this age group of boys have driven their, fancy cars and killed people on the road everywhere in Bombay, in Bangalore, in Delhi, and so many such cases have happened in the past, but people are not learning from that. So I think it's extremely important. And also the second thing is that the law really stipulates that the case should be reviewed by the Juvenile Justice Board, and then they should refer it to the normal court. In this case, they have reviewed the case and they have found it fit for the normal adult court. And also it's only a matter of 4 days. It's just semantics that 4 days, if he was 4 days older, he would have been 18. So I feel that this is perfectly right, and also to give justice to the family who have lost a young man. Not only this much, also to convey the message to act as a deterrent. It is extremely important, because we are not able to make this as a, a case where people are able to learn. The family doesn't learn. Look at the father. He not only tried to, hide the whole story, but also tried to bring a driver. Driver comes from a poor family. Maybe perhaps he can pay him and ask him to accept that crime, which is not right at all. In that case, imagine if that driver was tried. An innocent man would have put through this whole process of conviction, which is so wrong in the rule of law.
If you send a juvenile delinquent to a jail full of adults with hardened criminals, what are we the only thing we're really ensuring that when he comes out eventually, he's going to be a hardened criminal himself. He's never going to be able to break out of this cycle.
I think somehow we have a very wrong notion that in juvenile justice system they are getting reformed, they are getting any kind of real good psychiatrist treatment or anything like that. So first of all, let's not, this is all notional. Number two, that lot of youngsters still go to jail, still are part of that whole jail system. And this is 18-year-old, and this is 18-year-old, this is 18-year-old, this is not a child. And he has to learn, that you cannot have this negligence. This is almost premeditated. It could be anything, that he was driving so harshly, and every time he has driven the car like that. This is, you have to understand that this kind of a mindset must be that you are, high and mighty, you are young, you have all these fancy cars, you can drive the way you want to drive. I think this has to be really thrown out. Go back to the road and again
Ranjana says all of this is to get justice for you and your family. But what really is justice? Because to me, one of the most disturbing aspects of this story has been the fact that your family had to go and dig up the CCTV footage yourself in order for this case to reach the stage. And if I remember correctly, it was on the day when you were actually conducting the funeral for Siddharth, but your family was actually doing the investigations themselves.
Yes, it was actually quite tough for us, because see, we know that between the law and the common man, it's the police, and a common man like us, we don't know law and order that clearly, how are the police procedures. But when we came to know about the incident, and next day, because nobody was in town when this happened, so I came from Bombay, my parents came from Himachal. So when we went to the police station and we asked that why haven't you arrested, because there is a car, there are details that you have. So they said we don't have a provision to go and knock at somebody's door after 10 o'clock. and we bought that. I just want to say that, if the police doesn't help you, who does? So we thought that at least, see, we are educated people, so we could, apply our common sense, and we started digging things and, started getting witnesses, because there were so many witnesses. It was right on a busy road. So everything was there. Police just had to go and pick the things up, and they would have just put 1 + 1 together, and everything was very, very clear, but nobody did anything. So we were actually running from pillar to post, where we went and got the witnesses. We clicked the pictures of the car. Our friends did all of that, and we went and got the CCTV footage. But police had actually initially told us that that camera which we were pointing out doesn't even work. So I think it becomes very, very difficult if the people, those who are supposed to, secure you, or those who are there to protect you, are basically, working against you. So,
and in this case, you're also still trying to come to terms with your grief. You just found out that you had lost your brother, and you still have to do all of this. And if you don't, then this case would just come to an end. Shireen, I want to come across to you. Ranjana says it's absolutely not true that these juveniles get reformed. Now, instead of you and other activists pushing for reforming a juvenile, instead of trying to protect the criminal juvenile, why don't we instead have well-staffed, equipped reform schools? Why don't we have effective areas of change? We don't right now. So is it fair to protect them as a juvenile when we have no guarantee that they can actually be reformed?
No, I want to really dispute that. There are several juveniles that have been reformed, and I would welcome any of you to please come and meet some of them. That with the right care, with the right guidance, with the right counseling, of course they reform. And the whole point is that we do not want, it's not about a retribution and punishment, but it's a reformative system. We, we have to allow that chance. And even here in this system, till 21, there is supposed to then be an evaluation done. In fact, even with this boy, frankly, there has the law has failed us. Even before, we could have avoided this if the police had done their job properly before. And the question of holding up someone, to be an example is just not going to work in this case. There's a real worry that now that we've had this change in law, even though heinous offences,
that he should be held as an example.
All right.
Even
I'm going to come to you, but Shilpa wants to say something, so Shilpa, why don't you go ahead?
Very specific and few.
I just want to say one thing, that thinking of him as a juvenile and reforming him, it's a great thought, but I would also like to insist that just completely saying that the police was at fault. I think the parents are more responsible than anybody in this case, for the simple reason he has this money thing in his mind because of his parents, and I think no school can reform him more than his parents. Now, if they are the ideals of him and they are the one telling him that you can get away, like the simple act of them sending a driver in the police station is telling actually the kid indirectly or directly that don't worry beta, even though you have committed a crime, we'll save you because we have deep pockets. So I think the reform not only starts in some juvenile home, it has to also start from the house. If this boy goes to the juvenile home, but he mentally knows that his parents are okay with his actions, so I really don't think it will reform him in any ways, because the parents have this mindset that our kid is an innocent boy and he deserves the cars, he deserves all the fancy lives that he has because we have rich, we have deep pockets. And I think it's very, very important this time to see. I have been in the case and there is no remorse. I really understand that he was a juvenile, but I don't know of anybody. If I was at his place when the accident happened, I wouldn't have fled from the place. If I'm that innocent, I would have ran. It's an accident, I would have ran and saved Siddharth, not just walk past Siddharth just to see him die. I really think it's a very, very criminal mind.
Absolutely. So again, like I say, this case is extremely important, not just because for the first time we're having a teenager who's going to be tried as an adult, but for the first time we've seen a father actually also been arrested in this case. Ranjana, go ahead.
Yes, I have just small point that in this case the Juvenile Justice Board has reviewed, and the question has been raised about is rash driving and killing someone on the road heinous crime or not. I think that's the main question that has been raised by many other sister organizations and activists. It's very important to understand in this case his behavior, his parents' behavior, his parent trying to frame someone, which is also a huge crime before the law, and so many other things that has happened in this particular case. But the board has the discretion to send him to the normal court or not to send him to the normal court. So why are we raising this issue? Because board did go through all the data, everything that was presented to the board, and then decided that this person should be tried by the normal court. And this is what the law stipulates. This is how the cases will have to be looked at. If crime, of course the rape and murder is heinous crime, but this crime where you are totally behaving not only irresponsibly but criminally, and also the family has the connivance and criminal intent by framing someone else, that is the driver. So that criminal intent also shows up in this case, and perhaps that is the reason why the board, and also he has a lot of past history where family has protected him. So I think all that put together, maybe the board thought that this is fit case to go to the normal court. And also of course don't forget he's only 4 days younger than 18. If he was 18, it would have been totally different. After 4 days would have been totally different case. So I'm not trying to say that make an example, but this is the right kind of intervention at this stage to not only and also reform. I mean, we all believe in reform. That's why we all supported Juvenile Justice Act. I'm part of that campaign to get the Juvenile Justice Act in place, but this is unacceptable.
All right.
In the name of juvenile justice,
we're going to do last reactions.
So many
first from
crimes
Shireen, and I'm going to give the last word to Shilpa. So Shireen, firstly to you. So tell us quickly, if you can, how do you strike a balance then between the rights of a child and the need to deter heinous juvenile crimes?
I think that we need to look at how to really prevent, and as you said, to put in more investment into the juvenile justice system, to make sure that there is proper law enforcement, as should have happened previously, as well as the point that was made about the family and parents doing their job responsibly. Parenting is a hugely responsible and important job, and providing that guidance, wider society providing that counseling, and a real campaign against negligent and rash driving, and so that we can avoid these terrible tragedies. But saying that the law must take its course, and law should not be changed because of public pressure or media pressure. They really have to be, when juvenile justice boards decide, they must.
I'm going to give the last word to Shilpa. Shilpa, last word to you. Shireen says the law should not be changed because of public pressure or media pressure. You would say in your case that's really what's worked. Apart from the family pushing it themselves, if the media and the public hadn't come up in your support, we don't know where you would be.
See, I agree that there has been a tremendous support by the media and the family and the friends, but I would like to really put this point across that this happened yesterday of section 15 hasn't happened because there was a media pressure or there was a pressure from us. The evidences and the the proofs or the witnesses has been considered, and as per the law, as I've said from the beginning, we just want a fair trial. It shouldn't just become another case where we are running for justice. I think it should be a fair trial, and according to that, I think the JJB has been totally unbiased in it. And I think if this doesn't set an example right now, and I'm not saying you have to become unfair and the media pressure should work every time. All I'm saying is you have to just listen to what people are saying, because it's high time that we set examples so that people first of all don't drive the cars who doesn't have licenses.
Absolutely. Shilpa, Shireen, Anjana, thank you so much all for your time.